This story takes me back to my student days at the prestigious University of Vermont, where I was immersed in the study of electrical engineering. It was a moment of unbounded adventure and youthful curiosity. Tasha, Justin, and I decided to embark on a risky adventure into the mysterious woods surrounding Glastonbury Mountain one late July night. We ventured off into the unknown, armed with our camping gear, an abundance of scrumptious provisions, and an enthusiasm to unwind, ignorant of the horrific fate that awaited us. As the sky darkened, we gathered below the towering pines and built a bonfire. The earthy perfume blended with the sweet aroma of freshly made coffee, tantalizing our senses and filling the air with excitement. The crackling campfire was captivating. Justin, the comedian, made us all laugh a lot. We chatted about everything that was going on in our lives. Tasha became more concerned as the night went and asked whether we knew anything about the area. Justin and I both shook our heads, having grown up outside of Vermont. Tasha said, "Well, let me tell you, you've probably heard about the Bermuda Triangle where strange things happen and ships vanish for no apparent reason. Well, this area where we are now camping is in the region of Vermont known as the Bennington Triangle. There were some strange disappearances in the 1950s that have yet to be solved." We became quiet. "What happened?" While sipping a beer, I asked quietly. Tasha added, "According to reports, a few people vanished without a trace on the Glastonbury mountain trails. The people were never found despite thorough searches. James Tedford's disappearance is the most perplexing of the Bennington Triangle. According to witnesses, he was on a bus from St. Albans to Bennington. He, however, never got off the bus. He simply vanished." "Wow," Justin exclaimed. "That is terrifying." "Some speculated that it may be aliens, paranormal activity, or even Bigfoot," said Tasha. "Well, no worries. I'd packed a rifle," I explained. "I always bring one with me when I go camping." We all fell silent for a time. The flames from the bonfire danced in the breeze. We savored in the silence of the moment. Then Justin broke the stillness by mentioning his upcoming trip to see his family the following weekend, and we just kept talking about unimportant things. We eventually retired to the warm embrace of our simple shelter, a huge tent, as the hour grew late and exhaustion darkened our limbs. The bright stars decorated the heavens like jewels thrown across a black tapestry, directing us to our rest. The symphony of nature's nocturnal chorus sounded like a lullaby. The wind also increased in strength. We shortly fell asleep, or at the very least I recall doing so. "Did you feel that?" Tasha's shaky voice jolted me awake. "What?" I inquired. "I thought I heard a growl," she explained. "Perhaps it's a bear," I chuckled. "Stop," Tasha stated. "I already can't sleep." "If it's a bear, it won't help you if you're talking," I explained. "Go to bed. It's most likely just the wind." With that, I turned around and attempted to sleep again. But then I heard it as well. The roar did not sound like a bear or any animal I had ever heard. In our sleeping bags, Justin and I sat up. We were struck by anxiety. Our eyes were wide with fright as we exchanged apprehensive glances. "Turn off the lantern," Justin said quietly, and I did. "I think we should go check it out," Justin whispered. I agreed. We took flashlights and slowly exited the tent. The forest, which had previously been a peaceful haven, now gave off a sinister vibe. It was completely dark outside. Our flashlights were the only source of light. "Did you happen to hear that?" Tasha's voice was barely audible above my beating heart. As I strained to hear, my throat tightened. A low growl could be heard coming from the nearby trees. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. What could it be? Justin wondered. The growls became louder and closer with each passing second. Fear had a firm grip on us. My mind raced with questions and fantasies that conjured up terrifying scenarios. "We need to stay calm," I said, attempting to sound brave, but I couldn't hide the fearful quiver that ran through my words. We remained motionless and silent. The growls became more sinister, a chilling, guttural, unearthly sound. We returned to the tent in a flash. We crowded together, terrified. Suddenly the tent shook fiercely, as if an unseen force was attempting to break it apart. We began screaming. We understood the true hell of our circumstance at that point. We weren't alone. We were being pursued by a beast. Our actions were motivated by desperation. We clutched to one another, our fingers gripped tightly, looking for solace and strength in our mutual horror. The monster's heavy footsteps circled our tent, causing the ground to tremble. Is it going to get us?" Tasha whimpered, her voice quivering as she sobbed. "I don't know," I said, my voice shaking despite my best efforts to seem strong. "We can't let it break us. We must find a solution," I said, as I grabbed for my backpack to fetch my rifle. A blood-curdling roar cut me off. The monster's patience had worn thin as it had become tired of its game. It was no longer just a danger. It was a relentless force closing in on its prey. We realized we couldn't stay in the tent for much longer. We bravely exited the tent, armed with my rifle. Then we caught sight of it, the monster. It was enormous and had bear-like fur. However, its head resembled that of a wolf. The beast's eyes were red and gleamed with primeval malevolence. Its stare was fixed on us. It roared like a beast that hadn't eaten in a long time. "Run!" Justin yelled as he and Tasha dashed towards the neighboring woods. I fired a few shots and followed my friends. We dashed across the forest. We couldn't see where we were running. Branches snapped beneath our feet, scraping our skin. Fear became our fuel, propelling us past our physical limitations. The monster, on the other hand, pursued, its thunderous footsteps reducing the gap between hunter and prey. We somehow ended up on a road. I continued to fire. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, a truck emerged. We screamed and waved for help. The driver was a local who was just traveling through. He promptly let us into his truck after noticing our fear and turmoil. We were survivors in the midst of the mayhem of that night. We escaped the monster's clutches. We were physically and mentally scarred. The memory of that horrible night clings to me to this day, a constant warning of the darkness that lurks within the unknown. The Bennington Triangle is riddled with mysteries that defy explanation, and the monster we encountered is a disturbing reminder of the terrors many have reported before us. So, my friends, hear my warning and proceed with caution if you ever find yourself near Vermont's Glastonbury Mountain, for an extraordinary beast lurks within its depths, ready to unleash its vengeance on unwary humans. It had been a somber day, marked by the ceremony of spreading my mother's ashes, a solemn farewell to a woman who had held an inexplicable fascination with the macabre. And now, as I stepped foot once again into the house that had witnessed our tumultuous existence, an ominous heaviness settled upon me. As I made my way through the familiar rooms, memories clawed at the edges of my consciousness, flooding my mind with fragments of the past. And there it stood, like a forbidden citadel within the depths of my childhood, the room that had been locked away from prying eyes, its secrets guarded by my mother's unwavering resolve. The room had always been off limits, its presence an enigma that piqued my curiosity and filled me with both fascination and dread. I couldn't help but recall a distant memory, a moment when youthful curiosity had overtaken me and I had dared to test the boundaries set by my mother. I had attempted to open that forbidden door, driven by an insatiable desire to uncover the mysteries that lay dormant within, but my audacity had been met with swift retribution, as my mother's piercing gaze had caught me in the act, scolding me with a vehemence that shook me to my core. The fear in her eyes and the tremor in her voice had warned me to never cross that threshold again, to never seek the truth that she guarded so fiercely. Yet, despite the stern admonitions and the years that had passed, I couldn't ignore the haunting memories of my mother disappearing into that room, her voice mingling with eerie growls that sent shivers cascading down my spine. It was a symphony of terror, a discordant duet between a woman and something unseen, a clandestine connection that I could never comprehend. Now, with my mother's earthly presence extinguished, an unrelenting curiosity gnawed at my soul once again. I was compelled to uncover the secrets that had been veiled for far too long, and so, driven by equal parts trepidation and determination, I embarked on a quest to find the key that would grant me access to the forbidden room. In the depths of my mother's study, Amidst the relics of her peculiar fascination with the esoteric, I discovered the long-lost key. With trembling hands, I approached the door, each step a dance between anticipation and dread. The key slid smoothly into the lock, its metallic clicks breaking the suffocating silence, as if marking the beginning of a sinister revelation. With a slow, deliberate turn, I pushed open the door, and what lay before me sent tendrils of horror snaking through my veins. The room exhaled a palpable malevolence, its walls adorned with cryptic symbols that seemed to writhe and twist in the dim light. And there, in the center of the room, stood a creature so grotesque, so otherworldly, that words falter in the attempt to describe its abominable form. Its presence defied comprehension, defying the laws of nature and sanity itself. The creature towered above me, its elongated limbs terminating in razor-sharp talons that scraped the floor, leaving trails of ominous marks in their wake. Its grotesque body seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly energy, as if it were a twisted creation born from the nightmares of forgotten gods. Skin, taut and pallid, clung to its skeletal frame, revealing veins that pulsed with an otherworldly glow, casting eerie shadows across the room. The creature's face, a maddening amalgamation of twisted features, held a haunting familiarity. Its sunken eyes, devoid of light, flickered with a spark of recognition upon meeting mine. The jagged rows of serrated teeth lined its elongated maw, dripping with a viscous black ichor that stained the air with a pungent stench of decay. From the depths of its throat, a guttural growl emerged, a sound that echoed with primordial malevolence. Shaken to my core, I gasped and stumbled back. The creature lunged at me. Its eyes, once filled with unrelenting malice, flickered for a moment, as if glimpsing a trace of familiarity within my face. The monster saw my mother in me, for we shared an uncanny physical resemblance that defied the boundaries of reason and logic. In that fleeting instant, time stood still, an eerie stillness hanging heavy in the air. The creature hesitated, a flicker of recognition mingling with the twisted savagery within its gaze. It was a moment of fragile connection, a bridge between past and present, where the haunting legacy of my family unraveled before my eyes. My mother's presence, etched into my features, had momentarily halted the creature's relentless onslaught. But the respite was brief, shattered by a guttural cry that reverberated through the room. The beast's internal struggle ended, and its predatory instincts surged once again. With a surge of adrenaline, I managed to dodge its frenzied assault, narrowly escaping the razor-sharp claws that sought to tear into my flesh. Fear coursed through my veins, fueling my desperate retreat as I backed away, my mind grappling with the enormity of the situation. Then the creature abruptly turned away, as if something within my face had stirred a dormant memory, an echo of kinship within its twisted psyche. It fled, vanishing into the depths of the house, leaving me both relieved and unnerved by its departure. Scared, I hastily gathered my waning strength and made my escape from the tainted confines of my childhood home. Seeking solace and respite from the horrors that had unraveled before me, I retreated to the safety of my own apartment. But even within the sanctuary of its walls, the echoes of dread persisted, clawing at the edges of my sanity. Weeks stretched into an agonizing eternity, and the dreadful news reports unfolded about unexplained deaths and mutilated animals haunting my hometown. Each gruesome act was an omen of the darkness that I alone understood. Driven by a maddening sense of purpose, I mustered the remnants of my courage and reached out to the local sheriff, determined to shed light on the malevolent force that preyed upon our community. But my words fell on deaf ears, met with skepticism and disbelief. The sheriff regarded me with a mixture of pity and skepticism, dismissing my claims as the ramblings of a grieving soul teetering on the edge of madness. Undeterred by the sheriff's skepticism, I vowed to stop the monster once and for all. I went back to my mother's house. In my mother's study, I found cryptic ancestral texts detailing ancient rituals. I embarked on a perilous journey, navigating the treacherous realms of the occult in search of the weapon that would render the creature vulnerable. Each step was a dance with darkness, as I unraveled forbidden knowledge, performed rituals steeped of ancient power, and sought allies in the otherworldly. The path I traversed was paved with sacrifice and uncertainty, pushing the boundaries of my own humanity as I delved deeper into the heart of the unspeakable. Finally, after endless nights of relentless pursuit, my perseverance was rewarded. In the forsaken depths of an ancient crypt, I uncovered a hidden tome that contained the key to ending the creature's reign of terror. Its brittle pages whispered ancient incantations, woven with the blood and desperation of those who had come before me. With trembling hands, I traced the intricate sigils and chanted the words of power, invoking forces beyond comprehension. Empowered by the forbidden rituals, I set out to confront the creature, armed with a weapon imbued with the essence of light and purity. As the moon hung low in the sky, casting its pale light upon the desolate streets, I ventured into the heart of the beast domain, the woods. The air crackled with a sense of impending doom, carrying the weight of countless lives lost in its wake. My heart pounded in my chest, a steady drumbeat of determination mingled with trepidation. I found a clearing in the darkness of the woods and started chanting. Soon I found myself face to face with the creature. Its form loomed before me, a grotesque embodiment of darkness and suffering. With every ounce of strength and resolve, I unleashed the power within, wielding the weapon of purity, the special prayer against the abomination. The clash of our energies was cataclysmic, a swirling storm of light and shadow that tore through the fabric of reality. The creature, fueled by its own malevolence, fought back with a ferocity that defied reason. It lunged and snarled, its jagged teeth gnashing, desperate to rend me limb from limb. But I held fast, my grip on hope unyielding. In a final climactic surge, the invoked energies of light struck, piercing the creature's monstrous form with an ethereal light. It howled in agony, its vile essence dissipating into the night. As the tendrils of darkness dissipated, a profound silence settled upon the battlefield, broken only by the echo of my ragged breaths. But the victory was bittersweet, for as the creature drew its final breaths, a frail voice emerged from its dying form. It spoke of a truth that shattered the fragile remnants of my perception. The monster revealed that it was not a mere otherworldly creation, but my sibling, a twisted reflection of the same blood that flowed through my veins. My mother, consumed by forbidden desires, had delved into dark rituals, seeking power and immortality. In her desperate quest, she had made a horrifying pact, birthing a monstrous being that would forever haunt our family's legacy. Shocked, and with a heavy heart, I knelt beside the dying creature, cradling its misshapen head in my hands. In its fading eyes, I saw the reflection of my own pain and longing. It had recognized the remnants of our shared lineage within me, and in that recognition found solace in its final moments. The truth I had sought had been unveiled, but it offered no solace. As I gazed upon the life slipping away before me, a profound sense of sadness mingled with relief. And so, with a relief and sadness, I left behind the remnants of that nightmarish battle. The scars, both seen and unseen, would forever mark my existence. The weight of the truth I had unearthed would shape my path moving forward. The burden of my mother's secret had been lifted, but the scars of my journey remained etched upon my soul. My hometown could finally breathe a sigh of relief, ignorant of the truth that had haunted its shadows.